Hello everybody, in today's video I'll be showing you guys a little guide for the Skull Cavern. There are two things you want to accomplish before you go to the Skull Cavern. First one is hopefully you find a building like this. Now the reason why you want a building like this is because you can go all the way up it and it has some decent loot. Just need to find the entrance. And you got like a chest right here. You got a chest right there. Unbreaking for mending. You got a chest right there. And of course you can break all these spawners. You got chest. You got one right there, one here, one there, here, one in between, right there. But the big ones are upstairs. Right here, efficiency 4, unbreaking 4, mending. Like that's already a very good pickaxe, you're just missing fortune. Nothing there. And before you leave now, you want to come up here. And over here you got way more stuff that has more armor. So this will give you your starter gear. Here we go, a nice sword. There's a pickaxe with fortune, a chest plate. And you can go up one more layer. And same thing. As well as you can break all these spawners to make some money. But that is this building. You need to find one of these to just bump up your early game. Just because like all that iron gear and with the enchantments, you don't need to worry about it. So if you can find one, do find it. It looks like this on the map. It's pretty easy to spot. Now the next thing will be money. Now you can go watch one of my videos. I did make a video on like early game money stuff, but long story made short, you want to find villages. And hopefully the village that you find has a bunch of hay bales in it. Like for instance this one. It has honestly quite a good amount. And to make the Skull Cavern teleport, you have to go to your quests, you go to your bundles, you go to a vault, and each of these things require money. Now in the end, it's like 82 something thousand to then get your Skull Cavern teleporter. Now I'm just going to go through the village just to see how much hay bales we could have gotten. Let's just, put that back, turn off creative mode, delete that. Alrighty, I'll be back here shortly. Alright, so with just this village alone, so that's $29,000 guys, from this one village. So that just basically made it a third of the way there. So we'd need to just find like 2 more villages like this. And while you're exploring, you're going to see like food like this on the floor. Be sure to break it. We're going to need them. So after exploring, you should hopefully have enough stuff to make yourself the money to make the Skull Cavern. So we'll just wait until it is 6 a.m. for everything to sell in here. Alrighty, it's almost time. 5 more seconds. And then with all that out of the way, we can then put everything into our bank chest, and then we just need 4 gold coins. And then just take out all the iridium. And then we'll come to the vault. And then we'll just submit. Then we just go through each one and just submit it. And then with that, Skull Cavern teleport is completed. And then you can just place this down wherever you want. You can also break it. You'll get it back and then replace it down. So another tip for the Skull Cavern teleporter is when you enter it, you're in that new area. But when you're leaving it, it teleports you to your spawn location. Now for instance, I have a bed right there, but I didn't click it, so it's not my respawn point. So if I go through here, and if I click it again, it takes me back to my spawn location of the world. I'll have to go all the way back to my location. But if I were to set this as my respawn point, and I enter, and then I leave now, it's in my bed. So be sure to place down a bed before you enter the Skull Cavern. Now, the Skull Cavern does cause lag. So what you can do is just right click it first. You're going to want to open up your chat, do slash chunky world, and then arrow key down to Skull Cavern, and then just press enter. Do type this. Make sure you also do chunky and then type in center, because right now by default it does everything at 0, 0. You can see that we're at 5,200, so we need to center so it knows this is where we want it to do it. And then you're going to then type in chunky again, and then just type in start. Now what's going to happen is if you have commands enabled, you can see on the top that it is slowly going to now load in the chunk stuff. And you don't have to be in there, by the way. You can be outside of it and it will just slowly do it. Basically what's happening is once this is complete, it's just going to kind of like pre-generate the chunks. So it's not going to cause as much lag when you're exploring the chunks while mining all the way down and whatnot. And what we're also going to have is a shield. Doesn't cost much, just 1 iron and some planks. Put that in our offhand to protect from the skeletons, because they are very annoying. And then just going to run around until you find like a boulder like this. And then when you mine it, it has a rope that lets you go down into an area with stuff. Whenever you kill all the enemies in the Y level you're at, they do not respawn anymore. So when you clear a level, I would then recommend you mining everything in that level. And then once you mine everything in the level, as you can see, you got your first aquamarine, so we can now make crab traps with it. You just eat, prepare for the next level. And at a certain point, you're going to die and you're going to need to upgrade then. For instance, here you can see I don't have any boots or helmets, or I can, decide to upgrade my armor to gold or to diamond, whatever it is needed. Also, if you're in the Skull Cavern and you don't get out before 6 a.m., you're going to get a thing called the hospital receipt. Now, you can disable this. I do have another video for it showing you how to do it, so you can look at that in the description. But if you don't want to turn it off, what it does is you passed out, if you die or whatnot, then you have to pay a fee, and that will automatically be taken out of your, selling chest. So for instance, if I go in here and, I have copper worth 200, that's worth 400, all this. At the end of it, for instance, there you go, pristine amethyst, 1300. This whole chest is probably worth like 5K. It will automatically take out that 684. So instead of getting 5,000, I'll get, the 4,300 and, 20 something. And another thing with the Skull Cavern, you can actually just like run to one of the areas right away. And hopefully you may be lucky that there's going to be no spawns when you go down it. Like for instance here, I just ran down here and no spawns. So that means I can just go ahead and clear this one out. Now obviously you're not going to have the same luck going lower, but the reason why you want to clear it out is then you'll always know, where the next rope is that you can go down. And then you just keep doing that over and over. And then whenever you light up the cave, whatnot, you can just go ahead and kill everything. And then once again, just now you just mine everything once again. Alright, with the cave practically all mined out, we can go see how much we've actually made. This is all the stuff we got. And I forgot to mention, you probably want to come over to this spot and then press your map to open, and then just waypoint, create waypoint, and then just write, that's the portal. Because if you don't have it, you will get kicked out at 6 a.m. And to not have the debt, you need to come back to this spot and then, right click it to leave. And over here, you can see that the other ones did pay off. And if I go hover over it and open it up, you can see your profits were used to pay off your debt. 2,800 paid off out of your 8,000 debt. So that's what you'll receive instead of money. So if I throw all this stuff in here, we set the time to the thing. There you go. It seems we may have paid off our debt. Yep, there we go. And then we got the leftovers. Now for 3 iridiums from the blacksmith, you can buy the extractinator, which then you can now open up like your Omni Geodes and Geodes for no extra cost. And the Omni Geodes are the only way you can get the prismatic shards from the Skull Cavern. So you can just hold it and then right click it. And do we get lucky? We do not. But you can see like it does give like some decent like materials for certain things. And you can use these materials to actually make spawn eggs. Or you can, mint them down for power if you want it that way. My next tip to make the Skull Cavern much easier is actually rusty bombs. Now, how you make these guys is actually really simple. It's 1 gunpowder and then 8 iron nuggets. Now, the easiest way to get gunpowder is just, ghost peppers. Because then you can do 1 ghost pepper to 8 glow dust to make 8 gunpowder. And how these things work is quite good. Basically, you can go to your cave or whatnot, mine an area, and then you can kind of just look down and then just start throwing it around. You can use it to kill the mobs, and you can use it to make a bunch of mining for the area. The only thing I'd say careful of is it does hurt you, but you can kill mobs very easy with it. As you can see, that was pretty fast to mine out a majority of this cave. From the top layer, this is what you can expect from the stone boulder. There's this stuff right here. You got your cobblestone, geodes, earth crystals, aquamarines, the pristine amethyst, wheel of adaptation, and a gnome. And you'll see a lot of copper, iron, zinc. Pretty much everything you see here is what you get. And then once you get a little bit lower, you're going to now find the snowy area. Now this is the area where it starts to get annoying because you're going to find powdered snow, which will make you fall down and basically make you freeze and slowly make you die. The easiest tool to get out of it is the shovel. Or if you do have a hook from like the blacksmith that you can buy, it is another thing where if you go in it, you can just aim out and it'll just take you out of the powdered snow. And then you do the same thing. You can like use the hook to go up and then just kind of like throw the bombs just to have like overview that is better than the ground. Or you could just, be on the floor itself. And then once you go a little bit lower down at the frozen caves, that's when you finally unlock diamonds. You unlock the lead ore as well as spark stones. Spark stones are used to automate the machines. And lead ore is actually pretty good money. You also need it to actually make the machines itself. So be careful because the lead ore does cause poison. So for instance, here you go. I'll mine this and it will give me brain damage, which as you can see, it gives you slowness. That's pretty bad. But as long as you're sitting in the smoke, it just constantly does tick damage to you. And that's why you gotta be careful with the bombs. And while in the caves, you may find just a spawner area, which just has some chests and whatnot. But I would recommend also just marking this down because you can use spawners for things like you can turn these into a farm if you so choose to. In the frozen area, for the ice boulders, you can get ice, frozen geodes, frozen tears, omni geodes, spark stones, pristine frozen tears, and then the steamy gadget. And this is kind of like what the loot would look like also. You'd get a bunch of snowballs, good amount of diamonds. And since we are getting those omni geodes now also, we're getting jade, we're getting like those heart of the diamonds, that kind of stuff while mining the geodes. And then below the ice caves, we have the desert caves. Now, the only thing new here is we have gold ore, we have silver ore, which it looks like this, as well as we now have access to magma geode nodes, as well as the fire quartz. And then you can see over here too, on the sky, we have now organic glass that we can break to get stuff. You'll also find redstone down here. And most importantly, you'll find the iridium ore, which is basically like the netherite scrap. It's used for a number of stuff, but most importantly, it is a upgrade to our armor. And you can break these Omni Geode nodes by just throwing the bomb. It just has to be a direct hit. For instance, there, doesn't explode it, but a direct hit does in fact break it. And then in the sand boulder area, this is what you get. Some sandstone, magma geodes, fire quartz, omni geodes, spark stones, iridium scrap, pristine sandstone slates. You'll get prismatic shards, which is amazing. And then the mini Oni eye. And this is what the loot will look like. Yet again, a bunch of diamonds, a bunch of fire quartz, part of the diamonds, and then all these were just from me mining those boulders as well as from just throwing the bombs on those Omni Geodes. The next area you'll find is the Blackstone Caves as well as it's like the End Stone. So down here you'll finally find like those Endermen that you need as well as the chorus plants, which again you can just use the bomb to break it to get the fruit and whatnot if you don't want to break it normally. And then because the bombs do pretty good damage, because they do 20 hearts of damage, you can just use it to kill all the enemies. Now, granted, again, I am in creative mode and not taking the damage, but you would want to, you know, take it from afar and do this. And then from those boulders, you can get, you know, blackstone, raw bismuth, magmas, the fire quartz, omni, spark stones, jade, more iridium, the prismatic shards, pristine rubies, and the heart of Neptune. And for the end stone, same thing, you got some jades, amethyst, dragon's breath, ender air bottle, more sparkstone, iridium scrap, pristine star shards, those are expensive, and then again, the heart of Neptunium. And then for the structures, I'd recommend you go to J, and you just go look at the area you went to. You'd come over here to cave layers, and then just slowly go lower and just see what's there. For instance, like all these yellow spots that you're seeing are honey that you can mark on the map. So then when you go back up there, you may go, you know, down those layers and hopefully find those pods. But as you go down, you know, you can find stuff. So for instance, over here, we have a cave structure. For instance, I'll just teleport there. But it is a little structure that has a bunch of chests that you can potentially loot from. Alright, same thing. We're just going to slowly go lower. And then over here, we have the trial chambers. That once again, you know, you could go around, go mine all these blocks of copper. Because it is a bunch of them. You can break the pots for loot, as well as it has its own chest. And then how you get the dragon egg is you just place down the piston, plus your lever, turn it on, and it'll just break, and then it'll go into your backpack or inventory, wherever it is. But we can use it to make our Elytra, or we can go ahead and use it with the ender slime to make the minty slime, or we can use it with the mayonnaise maker to make dragon mayonnaise. And then same thing, you just go down your cave layers, and then you're going to find a structure that looks like this. This is just a solid mass. And when you go to it, it kind of looks like this. And if you break into it, you found yourself the Spark Cat slime. And you get the Token of Unity, which if you use the Token of Unity, you can use this with a prismatic shard to get 3 prismatic shards. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much the Skull Cavern. Let me know down in the comments if I missed anything. And always remember, you can get stronger. For instance, I have made videos already on like winemaking and the brewery, which can make you very strong. Like again, like you can face tank the Wither with no armor, no nothing, and you could just punch them to death. So this area should be pretty easy once, you know, you start slowly getting better and better and you just, you know, upgrade along the way going lower. But I hope this video helped you out, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See you later.